Start. Okay, we are on. Hello, Cory. How are you?
Fabulous, brother.
So I am really happy that finally we meet, at least like this, because you are 18,000 kilometers far from me, and finally after 2.5 years we see each other. So everything okay on New Zealand or in New Zealand?
Yeah, I mean, this has been some really weird times over the last year and a half, right?
So
So,
you are totally closed, or how
yeah,
it's now?
I think our border restrictions here in New Zealand are probably the strictest in the world. So we shut down in March 2020. And basically, apart from a 1 month period where we had a travel bubble with Australia,
Okay.
nobody can come in and nobody can go out.
So, and I heard a few months ago that you have total lockdown. How it was?
Yes. Yeah. So we had the Delta strain after almost close to 1 year with no COVID cases,
Mhm.
which I think was a leader throughout the world. Delta came in under the radar, and it's got into people's heads. It's gotten to the point where society won't take the lockdowns anymore. People are breaching, people are protesting, and now
Mhm.
the Delta variant is spread across the country, and Auckland's been hardest hit. I think now 12, maybe 14 weeks of lockdown.
Phew.
But all these
And,
restrictions are starting
and,
to come off because the country is 90% vaccinated now.
mhm. And what does it mean, lockdown? Could you explain us how strict is this?
Yeah, so New Zealand lockdowns seem to be have a lot more restrictions than other countries.
Mhm.
When we had a lockdown, there's no school. You can go to some essential services, such as the supermarket, and that's almost about it. Only certain supermarkets were authorized. Just your normal shop on the corner or a superette, they weren't allowed. Butchers closed down, everything. So just some supermarkets, one at a time, masks, signing in. One person can't take your child or your mum or your dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who control it?
It was almost bought into by the people.
Uh-huh.
So
So, but the Kiwis follows the rule, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. The prime minister pleaded with the people, and the people listened. And that was last year. And this time round, people are tired of listening, and it's actually become a bit of a shame because now we're almost a fractured community, and it's this person against that.
Mhm.
You've stolen our freedom. We don't want to get vaccinated. So now it's come to the point where vaccination is mandatory
Uh-huh.
in many industries. So the teachers yesterday in all schools, if they didn't have vaccination, they lost their job.
Who so strict?
Yeah, this strict. So, and this is also for other frontline workers that are in touch with people often. Um, the restrictions are starting to come off now, but these these are going to start to play into summer. They basically said to us, if you want a summer, you have to be vaccinated. We have to have a
Okay.
passport. And
Mhm.
so where I live, it's been relatively unaffected, apart from when we were in what we call level 4, where you can't go anywhere. You can only stay at home. You can walk down your road for some exercise, but you can't go to the park. You can't go to the beach,
No
and
fishing.
nothing. No
Nothing.
fishing. Even if the river is on your front door, you cannot fish. Same with the surfing. If the
Mm.
if you live on the beach and the surf is right here, you can't surf.
So it's in
So,
in our country this lockdown was quite strict, but fishing was allowed, so we can go fishing. But in the strongest lockdown, we can go only in our part of town.
yeah.
So it's but it wasn't so strict like on in New Zealand. Yeah, I saw some post of Sarah on Instagram that she shared some, I think, Jacinda is correct pronunciation of your prime minister, and she was a little bit pissed off because some people unfollowed her, because it was kind of anti-vaxxers, or it was you have also some people that they don't want to be vaccinated.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for people having their own choices in life, but a lot of these people currently are creating a lot of disturbance.
Mhm.
They blocked the border and tried to get through Auckland, which is in a state of lockdown, because they wanted to march through and claim their freedom was being taken away. But the border, the controlled border for quarantine, is there for health and safety. It's not there to remove their freedom, but they've changed the whole narrative.
Mhm.
It's no longer the pandemic and the vaccination. They've changed it into something else.
Mhm. And at the border, it's only virtual, or there is some policemen or some service.
Yeah, it's controlled by the police, and this is just Auckland.
Mhm.
Another outbreak in the Waikato, which is where Hamilton, where I took you to the rugby.
Okay.
That was more virtual. It was what they call a soft border. You're
Sure.
not supposed to travel, and people know it, but you probably could.
Yeah.
But if you got caught, then I don't know. People are getting caught. Some
Yeah.
people were traveling out of the quarantine through farms and forward driving across farms to go to McDonald's on the other side of the border, and then coming back and then putting photos on Instagram with their car full of McDonald's.
In our country, kind of soft border doesn't work because nobody will follow this rule. Yeah. Okay, it was about situation in our country is getting worse and worse. Yeah, because we have almost over 20,000 in one day tested, yeah, with coronavirus. So it's quite bad. But they said that almost 70% people in hospital with some complication are non-vaccinated. So it's good good to be vaccinated. Yeah, but I am also like you. The people can have their own choice, but if it's dangerous for other people, and if it's fooling their decision, fool the hospitals and other people, they don't have the care, hospital care. So it's not only their decision. So it's
Yeah.
against us. Yeah. Okay, stop talking about coronavirus. I didn't I didn't say to our listeners who you are. You are, I mean, the best Kiwi competitor. How many titles in New Zealand you have? How many national titles?
Between the rivers and the lakes, there's 8 national titles.
Who is there any competitor close to you, or not
Yeah.
even?
No, there's some guys, former champions, Aaron West, and
Uh-huh.
also a guy Des Armstrong, and yeah, those two guys, they were knocking on those numbers as well. Yeah, great
Okay.
anglers that passed down the torch.
So, and you were many times on world champs. How many times you were?
5 times.
5 times. And you were 2 years retired. You said that you quit competition, but you are
This time?
now back.
Okay. I
Is
think
it right?
this is interesting. Yes. As the people that compete in world championships and the preparation that goes into it know, um, it takes a lot of sacrifice, commitment, financially as well as time.
Mhm.
And I've got a young family, so that's a big strain on them. And I've been massively supported by my wife Sarah, as you know, and it just became too much because I'm the type of person that can't let things go. So I'm doing my competition preparation, and I'm also doing my backcountry fishing.
Yeah.
Then I have a business. Then I'm guiding in between, and it's just crazy. And so something had to give. and it wasn't the backcountry. So I chose to finish in Tasmania after the World Championships in Launceston, Maina. And that was my last competition. But then the world changed. In March 2020, as we know, Corona, as we've talked about, swept around the world. And that changed me personally. My business was affected massively. My mental health was affected massively. And I just found myself, even though I was busy, I had lots to do, I wasn't getting challenged mentally. And if I went fishing backcountry and I was catching some beautiful big New Zealand trout, it was nice. It was a good feeling, but the spark wasn't being heated. And I decided that I would throw my hat in the ring recently just to see if I can have a crack at going to Spain in 2020. So I've competed a couple of times this year, and it's been good to be back.
Yeah. So if it's possible, you will come.
If it's possible, yes. So this probably comes down to financial for me, because the last year and a half has been brutal, and also the state of our borders, because there's New Zealanders that have been stuck overseas that live here. Some husband and wives or mothers and daughters have been apart for 1.5 years and haven't been able to see each other. Some people went for a holiday and then got stuck there and couldn't get back. So it's pretty crazy.
So you said that your business was quite affected also with coronavirus situation, and you are running a magazine for about surfing.
Yes.
So there was no competition, no surfing around in that time?
Yeah. So as you know, all businesses throughout the world got nervous. So any advertising was heavily affected. With the lockdowns that New Zealand faced, where nobody can work, we couldn't even print magazines or distribute magazines. So there was no post, no courier. After the first lockdown last year came out, I brought out a magazine just before Christmas, and that was really good. And so business started to get good again. And then this year looked very positive. And in August, 4 months ago now, we have another lockdown. So, and this one is probably worse for businesses. And then because the surfing magazine is 50% of my income and on my work, and the other 50% is fly fish guiding. And so with no tourists, I shifted my focus a little bit, and I've been running more clinics for New Zealand fishermen to get better and work on their techniques and newer techniques, how to read the river. And it's been good, but most of that clientele comes from Auckland, and they're in a complete lockdown. So that's removed that business, the international business as well.
Cory, can you close the tab with Facebook on your computer? Because somebody wrote you, and it makes this beep beep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's same here. We have last year 2 months totally closed our business, coffee. This year also 2 months, zero income. So it's really tough. But now it was good, and I don't know how it will be, because we have new government now, and this government it looks that they don't want lockdown, but it's so bad situation that it must be lockdown. So we will see.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I start this podcast, it has all the time the same questions about fishing. So, and if I go to the railway, and I ask you, how was your fishing beginnings? Who was your teacher? Who teach you fishing? Where you start?
Yeah. Okay. So I was born in Dunedin, which is in the very bottom of the South Island of New Zealand. My grandfather had...
Ooh, I didn't know. I mean that you are from Gisborne.
Yeah, no, I am now, but not then.
Okay.
And so, and that area is pretty famous for fly fishing in the Southland, and that's got a lot of really famous rivers, especially a one that's amazing for dry fly hatch, and that's the Matara. And my grandfather, he came across to New Zealand from England as a 16-year-old in World War II, and he was an engineer, and he decided to settle in this region because he also loved fly fishing. And I remember I was probably 4 years old when I first went with him, and my mum took us also. And he was a dry fly purist, coming from England.
So you are start immediately with fly fishing?
No, probably a little light spinner. Yeah. So he is fly fishing. He is dry fly only. He would turn in his grave if he saw a squirmy. And he's casting away, and he's like this, and I'm saying to Mum, he's been doing this for ages, but he hasn't caught anything yet. And Mum said, because Mum grew up fishing with him, also fly fishing and spin fishing, and they grew up on, they had what's called a crib.
Crib?
So it's a crib. It's like a small house, a small shed that they could put on the farmer's farm, and it's back in 1950. It was a handshake agreement with the farmer. Hey, can I please build a shack on your river? And the farmer then was like, yeah, no problem.
Ooh, it's interesting.
It's not much population. The people back then are respectful. People don't steal. People don't wreck the farms and leave the gates open, and you know. So everything back then was like a gentleman handshake. And he had a lovely place, a little shed on this river, and my mum grew up every weekend going there, so she knew all about fishing. And we were on this river this one day, the famous river, and he's dry fly, and mum waits till he gets around the corner, and he said, this is what we used to do when we were kids. So she lifts up a boulder, and she finds a worm, and we put it on the hook, and within 3 seconds, I had my first trout. And then Granddad came around the corner, and he just lost his mind. What are you doing? You cannot fish a worm. You must fly fish. You cannot use the worm. And I always remember that. I was a little kid. I was so proud that I caught my first ever trout. And I'm just like, I can't believe this.
And it was your age in the time?
Yeah, 4.
4.
Yeah.
And immediately your grandpa almost kill you.
So at the time, my father was into, he was a competitive rifle shooter. And a lot of the shooting ranges that they went to around New Zealand, for some reason, always had a nice river flowing through them. So every weekend he would be shooting, and my brothers and I would be fishing. And sometimes they were just rivers with eels, sometimes some sea fish, and then other times some trout. So that I have some fond memories of one river called the Waihau, where the World Championships was held in 2008. And I think when I was about 7, I caught 4 fish in one pool in 4 casts. And of course, they were like this big, and I kept them all on a plate and took them to show my mum. And this is the same river that I won my first national championship on. So this was a good connection.
Okay, so, and you start in age of 4. So it was your first trout, and then you started fly fishing immediately, or and your teacher was your grandpa, or your mother?
No, my grandfather. Yeah,
grandfather.
Just a little bit through to about my teenage years. Every time he would come and visit, because we moved from Dunedin to the North Island, and when he came and visit, we would go fishing some days, and he would teach me. Then when I was about 13, I discovered surfing, and I didn't want to fly fish anymore. fly fishing was uncool. Surfing was cool.
Yeah. Now it's cool, more cool fly fishing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you are doing also gymnastics, isn't it?
Yes, when I was 4, same age, I started gymnastics, and
Hmm.
I guess I obviously had some natural ability or X factor, because I think when I was 7, the coaches come. I remember the coaches coming and talking to my mum and dad and talking about. Next minute, I was in the New Zealand development squad, and yeah, that was some crazy years. From 7 years old through to about 24, every single day, 40 hours a week of training and gymnastics.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I know one guy is going to our fly fishing clinic with his son, and he said that it's at least 4 hours per day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening training, almost every weekend some competition. It's kind of job. It's not for fun. Gymnastics. Yeah, he's doing gymnastics. Yeah. So, and you are doing also the surfing as a competitor. You were a competitor in surfing.
Yeah. The gymnastics was interesting because I didn't grow up like most kids. Other kids are out there running around, and when they get to their teenagers, they're off driving cars and drinking and going to parties. And everything for me was just focus and dedication. And I think that set me up well for life.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it also took away a childhood, if you know what I mean.
Yep, yep.
So I never drank a single piece of alcohol until I was 24.
Yeah.
And that was...
Anyway, if you are talking about drinking,
Oh,
I have
here we
something,
go. Here we go.
I have here's something for you.
What are they?
Yeah, wait a little bit. Okay. So, cheers, brother.
Yeah, cheers.
Greeny. Okay, never drunk.
Yeah, so I'd never even drunk alcohol. I was that focused on being a champion
Okay.
and winning. And so I did go on to win 3 New Zealand titles and compete internationally. And I was qualifying for the Olympics when I had a really bad injury,
Mm.
and I blew all my shoulder joints. So that was the end of my career. A few years before that, of course, when I was younger, 13, 14, I started surfing. And competition was in my blood. And I think that's why I've gravitated towards the fly fishing competitions as well.
Mhm.
So I started competing in surfing. I gave it a lot of dedication as well, but I probably didn't have the natural ability. I had the heart and the drive.
Mhm.
And so I got to a decent, competition level where I would sometimes make a final at the regionals, but
Mhm.
never a national championship type guy.
Okay.
But through that, I actually ended up being the New Zealand national coach for the World Championships in
Mhm.
Portugal,
Portugal.
2008. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So it was your career, and when start your career as a fly fisher competitor?
Yeah. So after I finished with the surfing, it's actually funny because it's all built in.
Mhm.
Surfing's an outdoor sport, and it's all about adventure, and it's very similar to fly fishing. And a lot of the places we go to in New Zealand have rivers right there by the most amazing surf beach. And so it was actually a trip to the South Island that I rekindled my love for fly fishing.
Mhm.
And I think I was probably about maybe 20, 19 or 20. And I went and saw my grandfather before a trip down through surfing through the bottom of the South Island. And he says, "I'm too old now to come and show you, boy, But And I said, "Oh, could I take your rod?" And he's like, "No, no, 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 you can't take my rod. It's too precious. It's too precious." And I'm like, if somebody came and saw me now, I've got like 90 rods sitting here. I'd just go like, here, take my rod. Yeah. Can't take this one though. But so I went to a shop and I just bought a starter kit, $150 with a line, a reel, and I went surfing around the bottom of the South Island, all through the really isolated parts. And in the afternoons, after taking photos and surfing, I would go fly fishing. And then the ball started rolling, the snowball. And then after a few years, that's all I wanted to do. And all my fly fishing was based around catching trophy trout. So it was a good friend of mine, Rob Vaz, who's been a world competitor before. And he would come fishing with me on your favorite river. He would come down from where he lives. And he would say to me, "Geez, you fish pretty good. You should probably do some competitions." I was like, "No, I don't want to compete. I want to just catch big fish. You guys catch all these little tiny fish." And then came the 2008 World Championships, and I read about it coming up in New Zealand, which is still very well talked about till now as one of the great championships. And I remember seeing the cars parked by the streams that they were fishing on. And I was like, those guys are crazy. They've come across from all over the world to catch fish this big, because all these streams were full of lots of small fish. And I just thought that was just nuts, that somebody would go and try and catch small fish, come across from all over around the world. And then one day, I just kept, over the years, Rob would say, "Hey, come along and give it a go, give it a go." And I'd just say, "No, no, no, no." And then in the end, one day he said, "I can get you a controller. I'll help you with some flies for this river." And this was my first competition. And because I had been away from gymnastics for, I think, maybe 10 years, and I just fell so in love with the fly fishing, that competition, the feeling and the spark that lit inside my chest, my hands were shaking, my palms were wet, I was just flustered, and it was an amazing feeling, you know. And I think I got 5th at the first comp that I did, and then 2 weeks later I got 2nd, and then about another 2 weeks later I got 3rd, and then I qualified for the national championships. And everybody's like, "Who is this guy?" Because nobody knew who I was in the competitive world. And I came into the national championships expecting to get dead last, and I finished 3rd behind Des and Sam, and qualified for the world championships. And so 3 months in competing, and podium, and national championship, 3rd podium, and world championship team. And this was the start of a long.
Yeah, I think it's you, because you cannot do something on 80%. You have to do it for 150%.
Yes, and this is why I called time on the competition fishing, because of the effect it was having on my family, and also on myself. Because if I did it at 80%, I could probably do it for 20 more years, but I can't. It's 150, like you say.
Yeah, I understand. I have also, in these years when I was on the highest level, my highest level, not in Czech, not Czech highest level, because in our country is really big competition between all these world champs, because we have so many. But I do it also this way, 150, and I was over 100 days on the water every year, and it was also for my family not really good. Yeah, but Sabina is saint, so it's okay. Yeah. And now it's a little bit better. I mean, I hope. She don't look at this, so I can tell anything about it. Okay, so, and your first world champ was where?
in the Czech Republic in
Czech
2014. Mm-hmm.
2014. Yeah, I remember that time. It was a great time. I remember the last party when I came to you and I said, Cory, I want to come to New Zealand, and you said, please come, you are welcome. And I said, I mean it. And you said, I mean it too, come. So, and next year I was there. So it was great time. It was great time. I really enjoyed your company and your family. So thank you once more, because I was with you fishing three different trips. So it was great. Anyway, what do you think? What do you remember on this your first world champ in 2014? What do you take from this? What do you took from this world champ? How you feel it about this? If you are thinking,
Yeah. I think what I took from that World Championships is just how, without being disrespectful to this side of the world, how far behind Europe we all were. Because you're a big fish in a small pond, and you go to the World Championships and you're immediately humbled. For me, people often ask which has been my favorite World Championship, and often for competition itself, it was the Czech Republic, and that was the amount of different species in the rivers, the different techniques that you had to employ to get those different fish. And I often share a funny story that good training partner, that was a teammate of mine, Sam Bourne. We were given this piece of water in practice to fish, and the guide, Martin Musil Jr., he says, jump on in, see what you can get. And Sam says, you go first. And I nymph through, and I'm like, yeah, did a good job. 4 brownies. Yeah, good job. And then I said to Sam, you jump in. So Sam went down into it. He crossed and did a different angle. He got 2 brownies. We keep going. No more, nothing. 6 fish. Martin comes back and says, how many did you get? We cleaned it out. We got heaps. We got 6. And he says, is this all? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, step aside. And he comes in and he starts to animate. He gets like 60 roach.
Yeah, different species.
How were these fish there? Huh? But this was a huge eye-opener. Once we could catch the roach and the chub and the dace, it was amazing.
Yeah, some place perch everywhere. Yeah, also, one competition on Vltava, one team found one big school of perch, and they caught during 2 hours over 120 perch.
Wow.
120. So, and next year it was not allowed to catch perch. Well, they don't count, yeah, because some places hold the perch. But this year it was also like this. So sometimes in our part of the world you couldn't catch only brownies. Yeah, you have to be universal fly fisherman. You have to catch also chubs, and you know it already, and some roaches, daisies, and so on. So it's big difference between New Zealand and our country, that you have only brownies and rainbows, but
Yeah.
huge. Okay, so you enjoyed 2014. I always remember haka in the bus when we start.
It's funny coming from New Zealand. Whenever you go somewhere international and something happens, everybody says, "Hey, do the haka." And
you know it.
Yeah, but for me, that everybody uses the haka just too commonly. They just use it for no reason. But the haka is actually meant for respect. It's an honor. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for one, but it's also meant as respect for the person that you will battle. And so this is fly fishing. This is your competitors. So when people are like the welcoming ceremony, hey, New Zealand, do the haka, I think this is a little bit disrespectful.
Okay.
When Luboš wins the world championship
Uh-huh.
individual, and Czech Republic, Czech team wins the team medal, they get the haka in a
Yeah.
moving bus going around corners.
I will put a link on this because I have it on YouTube also. The
Yeah.
haka in the bus. Yeah, it was famous. So it was Czech Republic, and do you remember results of your team and yours?
I think I was 50th. The team, yeah, not so good. I don't
So
know, maybe 18th.
and next world champ,
Um,
it was 2000. Sorry,
USA.
USA. It was so 15. Where it was 15, I don't remember, because 16 was USA.
Bosnia.
Bosnia. So the New Zealand team wasn't there, or in Bosnia.
New
No.
Zealand team only go every second year, but there were some years we went just
Okay.
voluntarily in between.
So you were in Colorado, Wales. So did you enjoy there?
Yeah, this was another one that it wasn't so much the competition venues that I really enjoyed. It was my first day there. We were staying in the high part of Vale where it goes up the mountain on the Gore Creek.
Uh-huh.
And in our backyard was the small river, and it's only maybe one rod length wide, and sometimes, this deep, maybe this deep.
Uh-huh.
And on my first day, we pulled up as a team. We settled into the house. We had something to eat. And then the guys sit down and start tying flies. Before I go to World Championship, I'm always prepared. So I already had 800 flies. So I said to the captain, hey, what is everyone doing? He said, the guys are going to just tie flies for about 3 hours, and we'll go to the supermarket because this is day one. I said, can I go fishing? So when we arrived in the driveway, there's a big bear going through the rubbish bin. So First of all, I'm nervous that if I go down to the river, the bear is going to eat me. You see bears often, so you're used to it. But
no. I'm also scared.
So I get down to the river, and in the first pocket, I see this little shadow of a fish, and I cast, and it's a brownie. Then in the next pocket I cast, and it's a brookie. Then the next one is a cutthroat. And then the next was a cut bow, a mixture of the rainbow cutthroat.
Uh-huh.
So in 4 casts, 4 different species of trout.
Uh-huh.
And to me, that was really memorable. So you can't get that in New Zealand. You get rainbow or brown.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I went there and got 2 browns, 1 cut, 1 brown, it wouldn't have been the same. But to get 4 species and 4 casts, I'll always remember this. But the competition water, for me, I had the most crazy beats. Like session 5, this beat produced 0 fish in all 4 sessions, even with very good anglers. Slovak, I think Italian. 0, 0, 0, 0. I get to the beat. I'm almost in tears. It's been a really bad championship. I get 1 fish. And I was like Rocky Balboa standing in the middle of the river with the net. And then after about 30 seconds of standing there, I thought, shit, I better not drop it. So I wrapped it up. Yeah.
So, and Colorado, it was 2016, and 2017 we were together.
Yep.
In Slovakia. It was great time, especially because you had also their birthday, end of August.
I tell you what about this birthday. So I remember having 1 Slidovich, right?
Okay.
And then all of a sudden my body started going, whoa, crazy. And I was just like, holy shit. And I remember saying, the bar lady came and said, do you want another one? And I said, yeah, like 1. And she
yes, bring 2, yeah.
And you said 2. I was like, That was good fun.
Yeah, you remember it.
Earlier, I didn't know I had a headache because just focusing hard and probably not drinking enough. Because sometimes when you're in your waders, you don't like to drink so much because you have to take it on and off. So some days I don't even drink all day and then have a headache. So I took some Panadol. But this wasn't Panadol. This was Tramadol.
Yeah.
And
the combination is great, yeah.
The Tramadol mixed with the Slidovica. Oh. I don't really remember that birthday.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun, and it was great because I was there with my camper van. I slept next to a pension, and we fished so many days together. It was. I enjoyed it really, really much. Yeah, and in that part of Slovakia are many bears. So I was scared when I was taking picture during competition. So especially on Bela River. So there are so many bears. And I heard that this year, I think at least 2 or 3 bears, they had to shoot them down because they were so, I don't know, so not, they are not staying in the forest, so they came to the village. So it's not safe anymore. So they have to put them down. Yeah. So, and I saw so many hills of shits every day around cars. So, and what about this competition, this world champ? Do you remember something special in Slovakia?
I think just hanging out with you, Igor.
Yeah, this is always special with you and with me. So, but I mean about competition, because there was also grayling. So it's not usual fish for you.
Yeah, I felt I had a really good preparation in Slovakia, and I really tried to figure out the grayling and the downstream dry fly grayling, and I ended up getting 147 centimeter. Can you tell me the name of this river that we would park on the bank and then walk down to the confluence?
It was Váh and Bela.
Okay.
Váh and Bela.
So I think the one up by the railway bridge.
Yep.
Because I got some grayling in competition in the Czech Republic.
No. It was Orava. It was Orava. Mm-hmm. It was Orava. When we stand just under the bridge. Yeah. And we took some photos with drones there.
No. This Orava was the one with the chubs, and it was brown. Yeah.
So then it was confluence of Váh and Bela.
Okay. Yeah. So on this river, I caught my biggest grayling, which I love the look of grayling. Every time I've got a chance to fish for grayling. I think in the Czech, I got a couple in competition. I think in practice, like lots, but 20 centimeters.
Mm-hmm.
And in competition, I got a 37, and I was so happy. But this was in session 5 on the lower Vltava, and it's chocolate brown. And because I was winning the session, I didn't want to stop and take a photo, of course. But I'm like, it's my biggest grayling ever, 37. And to get the 47 in Slovakia in practice, that was really memorable for me. In competition, once again, I had some pretty tough beats. Session 5, one competitor who shall remain unnamed decided to walk right down the middle of my beat, and we had a big argument about he's walking right down the middle of my entire beat. It's crazy. So,
from where he was?
He was from Poland.
From Poland, yeah.
G'day, mate. Top man.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes there are things, some competitors that they are better than other. So, and then things that they can do almost everything. Yeah. But mainly are nice people. Yeah. It was great time. I remember one situation of preparation New Zealand team, because I spent I think almost 10 days with you, And one day we were, I think you can remember this situation. It was on Orava River, and we found some place which was full of stocked rainbows. And your partners, your teammates, immediately put there some streamers, and they started to catch every rainbow there. And I said, "No, you are here for training how to catch chap." And you were the only one who was going to the bank and started to catch chaps the right way. But I have some pictures from the drone, like your friends are standing in the center of river, and they are casting only to these rainbows. So it was so funny that when we are catching fish, that we are like kids sometimes, like small boys.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Main explosion.
we won't catch anything, but more than other.
The tug is the drug.
So it was 2017, 2018. It was Italy. So your team wasn't there.
No, we had a team. I was supposed to go with this team, and
You there was a New Zealand team.
yeah, and so Sam and I was also in this team, but we just some politics, some drama
Okay.
happened, like every federation in the world has.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's around the world. I know it now because I spoke with other, and it's so fun that the teams who are on the top. I mean, just this year it was team from Finland,
Mhm.
and they, I think, well deserved this victory, because when I spoke with Jarko, so how much they spent on these rivers, how they so many times they prepared, also some physical preparation, because they know that it will be really hard wading, really hard. There was 3,000 stairs to some black hole to the river, so it was really exhausting even to get there. So, and Jarko said that they know it, and also they have this part of Finland really on the north part, and everybody have to go there 5 years for all competitions. So they really deserve this. So, and I think in a Finland team, now it was great constellation, and everybody was friend to each other. So, and it also makes good time and good result. Yeah. And when there are some politics, it's going down with team all the time, all the
Yeah.
time. So anyway, you said about politics. Could you explain us how it's how it's about qualification to national team in New Zealand?
So traditionally, in New Zealand, I think you've asked about the amount of competitors. We have maximum about 60 in 1 year that compete, and we have points per competition, just like the Czech system.
Okay.
And it is based on how many people enter these competitions. So usually the late competitions have more, and the late competitions are worth more points.
Okay.
Uh,
Give us some example. For example, 15 people, 15 points, or 30 points, or
so if it's a maximum. If there's 20 or more, that's maximum points. That's a maximum competition. So that's worth 35 points for a win,
okay,
30 for second, 25 for third,
five
20
five
for fourth,
down.
and
Okay.
then it steps down a lot more for
Okay.
sixth, seventh, eighth. It steps down a lot more. At the end of the year, it's your best two rivers, your best two lakes.
Okay.
They go to the national championships, the top
Mhm.
20 for the rivers and the top 20 for the lakes. Then for team qualification, it is your best two rivers, best two lakes, plus your river nationals and lake nationals, double points.
Ah,
Double points for
okay.
national.
So together 6 competition, but national championships as double points.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And the top 3 is automatic qualification, and the next 2 or sometimes 3 if we take a reserve is selection.
Okay.
But
and
now,
selection by captain or selection some special competition?
No, selection by captain committee selection. So the captain of the team, a non-competing selector, and a competing selector.
Okay.
So usually say the president of the association, a former good fisherman that knows what everybody's doing, and the captain. But this system, because some years, depending on where the venues, like the Nationals, is held, some people know just this venue and are not the greatest or the best fishermen, but they know these venues, so they will get second or third on this, double points, automatic qualification, and then go to the World Championships and have a subpar result. So this, for Spain, we have a new system, and it's more probably based like the French. So it's a squad of 8, and for 1 year, the squad will work together and compete together, and whoever is the best team player, who works with the team the best, is in the team.
Okay. So I didn't hear it that French have some kind this squad. I didn't hear it.
I think it's just in their selection, because I have asked the federations throughout the world, because here in New Zealand, I'm on the committee for sports fly fishing New Zealand. So I try to help out with other ideas from around the world, and talk to yourself, talk to Olivier in France, and Devon in USA, and so on. It's good to see what other countries are doing. Sometimes because New Zealand's such a small pie of anglers, we can't compare to the 500 anglers that Spain have, you know?
So, and when we are about these numbers, how many regular competitors you have in New Zealand?
Yeah, probably at the moment, probably close to 60.
60. Yeah, you said it. Yeah. So, and how many competition during year you can join?
Around 14.
14 or 40?
14.
1/4. Okay. So it's also a big difference, because I said it many times here that I used to do ranking in our websites, and the biggest number of competition per year, it was over 80. So, and the most
80 competitions a year in 50 weeks.
Yep. But it's so that we have 3 different levels of leagues. We have division, second league, third league, first league, yeah, and the second league is split to different groups, and first league is 10 teams. So, and you couldn't join all 80 competitions, because if you are fishing in first league, you can go to second league. Because it's in the same time. Yeah, they are the same weekends, this competition. So, but if you are really active, I think the most active guy had 1 year 28 competition per year. 28. So, and I think approximately we have about 14, 16, maybe a little bit more per competitor.
Yeah.
So it's quite a lot. Yeah. Okay, and you have some competition. I mean, some leagues in New Zealand, or just individuals competition?
No, we just have we have an individual competition, but we have one competition per year, and it's called the Peers Championship, and it's a lake competition, and we just had that last weekend. And this is to encourage new people to come to competition fly fishing. So it's a professional amateur event, and a
Uh-huh.
pro is deemed as somebody that has represented New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
So World Championships, Commonwealth Championships, or Oceania Championships.
Mhm.
If 2 pros enter, they can still compete, but they can't take the prize, or they can't be in the running for a finish. So you must have a amateur. So this is good. It's a fun event. It's for camaraderie. So you are sharing all your information with your new partner to try and get them up
Okay.
catching
So it's
fish. Yeah.
it's double team, one pro, and you take some new buy.
Yeah.
And how you find this new buy? Just on.
Usually just talking, somebody that's like this year. I had a guy that started competing last year, and I've known him for a few years, and he's just a keen fisherman. He does mainly lakes, but sometimes river. And
I
he's
saw
like,
some pictures. Your team were third or second?
second.
Second. Good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Billy goes up. I saw that he won with his friend.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because Billy didn't have a partner because of the lockdown. His partner was from Auckland, so
he's locked.
like a couple 3-4 days before the competition, he's looking for a partner, and then he rings me up and he goes, "Oh, I've got this guy Craig Anderson." I'm like, "Oh, you might beat us," and he goes, "I don't know. You and Ben are like really good team, And I said, "Nah, Craig is an amazing angler on Lake Rotorua." Because like 5 years ago, I had Craig as a partner in the Pro-Am. And I won this competition individually, but Craig, he bombed. So, but Craig fishes this lake really well. So as soon as Billy got this guy, I'm like, "Hey, I think you guys might have it." And he's like, "No. And then sure enough, yeah, he won.
So, and it's because I remember Billy on my first trip to New Zealand, because in that time he just was thinking about competition. It was 2015, and now he's going to national team, or he is so good. Is there or not?
Yeah. He's in the team, and he's also the current national champion. He won the national championships this year.
Okay. Yeah. So hopefully you will go together to Spain.
Well, this is actually the only reason that I've decided to come back.
Okay.
And that's just
to fish together.
Because Billy's there and fish together. Traditionally in New Zealand, you see a lot in Europe and internationally of a lot of the former team members and older legends. Like in the Czech, you have Tomas, Corral, still giving back, still being involved. In New Zealand, these guys, they finish their competing and they leave, and they don't help anybody. They don't pass on any information. They're never there to help train the next generation. And so obviously when you're trying to be the best and you're trying to be the champion, you can't give away too much because you want to protect your buffer zone.
yeah, I understand.
But I've always been into helping the next guys. So a few years ago, I think like 5 years ago, I started helping out a young guy called Ollie, and he started off asking 4 billion questions a day. Blah, 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 blah. And then when we got him under control, he's like, now he's the river champion. And at my last national championships, for me to be standing on the gold medal podium with Billy beside me on silver and Ollie here with bronze, this was an amazing feeling because these are the 2 guys that I've helped out. And this is my input, giving back to the sport. And so in the last 2 years, in my retirement from competition and trying to give back to the sport and trying to grow New Zealand, and that's one of the reasons why I've actually decided that if I can be involved in the Spain 2022 training squad, then I can help lift the level of the team. And if I get to go, that's great. And if I can't go, then I've helped give back to the sport and lift everybody's ability. So,
Mm-hmm. I think it makes sense. In our country, so many people stayed in a competition circus, because I don't like to say it many often, because it's kind of their lifestyle. Yeah, because they don't do nothing other. They fished and compete. Yeah, and if they stopped, they don't have nothing, so they have to continue. And uh, it's so that you saw very old fishermen, very old competitors around this compete. But I like it, because I am also one of them. so and I like to meet to my friends, because
yeah,
if you stop competing, you don't meet your friends,
yeah, yeah.
because
There's a
they
lot,
are on competition every weekend, and if you stop, you don't see anybody.
yeah. No, there's a lot of camaraderie involved, and
Yeah,
just
yeah, sure.
there's nothing as good as going away and just banter. Like
Yeah,
back and forth, just fun.
yeah,
So
and I love it also on this international level.
yeah,
So because I was there so many times in different positions, because I was there as a assistant of coach, as a manager. Also, I was there as a supervisor in some world champ in Italy 2012. I was also in 2017 as a PR, kind of PR manager, for Facebook and photos. So, and I became friends with many people. So, and also our friendship became from this when we met there.
yeah.
So, and I love to meet people. Yeah, and also it was fun, because when I had here our guys in podcast, everybody talked about, from these guys, everybody talked about medal position, about how they win, how they were second or third or first, and this and that. And when was here Rene Kops from Holland, really friendly guy, you know him. And one friend from our country said that he laughed when he said that it's not only about competition, it's also about to meet your friend, which you know so many years, because you
Yeah.
are going to this world champ many times, and it's also about friendship. So, and I love it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Okay, so hope that you will do it, and you will go with Billy to Spain. I hope.
hmm
I cross my fingers. So I have here a question when I ask other people also. If you say, because I think in New Zealand you are a hero for many people, for many competitors, but if you will say uh, as if you have some hero from I mean from New Zealand, or from world level fishing hero, some kind of that you say, yeah, this guy is so good, I won't be like he, or something
Yeah,
like this.
yeah. It's you.
No, no, no,
Oh, no,
no.
no, no. You have competitive geniuses, and then you have guys that just in love with the world, and love with fishing, and that's you, my brother. And you look at that famous photo of me and you,
Yeah,
oh, on the Rukaturi. I look at that photo every day, and it just chills down my spine, because it's just such a great memory. It's
yeah.
just, it's not fake. It's just pure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this day on Ruakuturi, it's here. Yeah, it was so great day, so great day. Whole day rain pouring from the heaven, but it was so great. Yeah, yeah. I will always remember this.
yeah,
And also, I remember another day, the day when we went to Hamilton to rugby. But before we were on Motu,
uh huh.
and my dancing on the bank when I caught on Rakarka 63 brownie. So it was so
Yeah.
great. It was so great, and it was so fun when you said that you loved to look at me how I'm happy, but
Yep.
it's also not fake. I am really happy.
Exactly. This is why. This is why you're my number one.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you very
So
much.
I'll rewind that a little bit. And it was your first evening in New Zealand. You landed. I had a late competition, and I explained to you on the phone how to get. I think you drove 4.5 hours after a 38-hour flight,
Yeah, yeah,
and you showed up, and you were like,
yeah. Especially on other side of road. Yeah, also.
yeah. And then I said, "Come on, it's we've got like 2 more hours of light. We'll go fishing." And Billy came with us, and we went to the Whirinaki River. And I remember we got to the first run, and I said, "Jump in." And you said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Of course. You've come across from the other side of the world." And I sat back with Billy, and I said, "I want to see his face when he hooks his first fish."
Yeah,
Because we knew there were some big fish in there. And then you hooked that fish in the tail of the pool, and you struck, and you looked at us, and you were like,
yeah,
I can still remember this vision. Like, it is so clear. And you were dancing, and the fish is back and forth, and it's running through the trees, and there was
yeah,
probably 55 rainbow, and
yeah. I remember it. Yeah, it was great. Even with this story, with when I lost my keys, car keys.
yeah, you hid them in the car.
No, no, no. You put it in your tent. Yeah. Funny story. Funny story. Okay, another question. Equipment. I ask all the time about equipment. Would you like to fish on a river? Which kind of equipment? I don't want to hear some brand, but for example, I love to catch on our rivers with number 3, uh, 9 foot, 9.5 foot long rod. What do you prefer for rivers?
Here in New Zealand, we're kind of spoiled for choice, as you know. There's so much variance. So
Yeah.
even in my region here, I can go to some rivers that you've mentioned. If I go to the Motu, it's sight fishing for big browns. This requires casting, so not Euro style.
Hmm.
So I will be fishing a 9-foot 5 weight, either dry fly or a dry nymph combo,
Hmm.
and it's all long distance casting, very accurate,
Hmm.
delicate presentation. And so this is a really good challenge because you're seeing the fish, it's cruising, your heart's in your mouth, and but then if I'm going to say the Waiaweka, another river just over the hill, it's all pocket water, freestone river,
Hmm.
small to medium rainbows. So this means 25 to 50
Hmm.
centimeter rainbows.
250. Middle size. Yeah, it's
Uh,
funny.
this I love to Euro nymph this type of water. There's nothing better all round. You can dry fly, you can dry nymph, you can indicate a nymph, and you will still catch fish. You could wetline,
Uh-huh.
but this type of water I love to Euro nymph, and it's some people say Euro or Czech nymphing is not fishing; it's just hucking. I often quite say come along and watch because I think you'll be surprised.
Mhm.
It's a lot more technique for me dropping nymphs into short pockets and getting long drifts than just throwing a line and watching something float. So
Yeah, yeah.
I love this style. I'll fish mainly 10-foot 6 3 weight.
Hmm.
Of course, if I went to say the Ruakaturi, which is my most favorite river in the world, um, I would probably be fishing my 10-foot 4 weight or even 5 weight because
Hmm.
in this river these fish are angry
Very
and
angry.
they they don't like to have the hook in their mouth. So these fish are lots of population, and they start at 45 up to 70 centimeters.
Mm-hmm. So, and do you use sometimes in your rivers? Do you do because when we were together, mainly we are doing Euro nymphing or Czech nymphing or French nymphing, sometimes dry fly, but never streamer. So, do you sometimes are doing streamers or not?
Yeah, so at the start of the season, in September in New Zealand, there's a species of fish called whitebait.
Mm-hmm.
Is this common throughout the world? That's just a small bait fish, and it's really thin.
Mm-hmm.
So, sort of a fly.
Ooh.
Like
Oh.
this.
A little bit up. Okay.
About 1 billion of these come into every river in New Zealand, and
Mm-hmm.
this time of year, the lower river trout go on the gorge, and so this is a really good time of year to wetline the estuary area, the salt fresh, the mix, and also up into the middle reaches of the river.
Okay.
Then later in the year, March, April, fish start to come up, and they'll also wetlining can be the best technique in New Zealand at this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the UK wee wet style, spiders, March brown, so on.
Okay, so when you are starting about season on New Zealand, can you explain people who have never been there how it's with your season? It's just now it's start new season.
So most
September.
majority of New Zealand rivers open on the 1st of October.
Okay.
The South Island closes. South Island and some parts of North Island close on the 30th of April.
Mm-hmm.
Other areas through North Island go to the 30th of June. And so for July, August, September, it's all closed.
All closed. You couldn't fish any.
You can go some places, mainly lakes or the lower section of some rivers.
Okay.
But because this is winter, the lower section of rivers is usually brown and flood level.
But on the sea, you can fish all year around.
Yeah.
But you don't like it.
Lately, because like in the start of October, the first week of the season, I decided to jump off a ladder, and I found out that I'm not 16 anymore, and I didn't bounce off the concrete.
Decided, it sounds so funny. Decided to jump from the ladder.
No, it's true. All day long, I'm stepping down, and then I'd been stripping paint off my house for 5 days, and at 5 o'clock, I was like, jump, caught my foot, slammed on the concrete, broken foot, broken wrist here. So now I've got nice shaved.
Okay.
So no river fishing for me for the last 6 weeks. So I've actually been going to the river in town by the sea and casting for saltwater predator. Yeah.
And?
Yeah, it's sometimes fun, but
it's also on my bucket list. Not checked. I want to catch some kingfish or kahawai. This. So
in Australia they call the kahawai sea trout.
Sea trout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I when I was in how called it, the part of there is big bay and a hill. It's on the east side of North Island. When I was there, I tried to catch some kingfish, and I was so close. All the time I said one cast to catch it, but there was some stingray.
Yeah.
And I saw some kingfish around, so I was crazy, but I didn't hook any. Yeah, but I think when borders will be open, I will come to catch some kingfish. So okay, so equipment, the season, you say the season is start from October to end of April. In our countries, exactly opposite. From middle of April, 16 April is start of our trout season, and is in last of November. Yeah, but we have trouts and no trouts water. On trouts water is like what I said, and on non trouts water in our part of country we can fish, fly fish whole year around. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, but in winter time definitely it's not so many fish. Yeah, caught. So anyway, what about fly tying, Cory? Because you said that your grandpa was purist dry flyer. Uh, did he taught you also fly tying?
No, no. I don't recall him tying flies. I think he did. Mum said he used to tie flies, but I don't ever remember ever seeing him with his bench set up or anything. Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, I think I started tying flies through necessity. Where I live there's not a lot of. There is a shop now, and a local brand is stocking those shops with flies, so it is more accessible. But back when I started, you couldn't get flies anywhere unless you were driving through somewhere like Taupo or Rotorua. So I think I just started tying because I needed flies, so I learned to tie. And I remember my first ever fly I tied, I was like, right, I've got a vise, I've got some hooks, I've got a bead, I've got some pheasant tail, but I need some dubbing, I need some fluff. And I was like, I reckon a possum would work well, because in New Zealand possums are a pest. They're invasive. They destroy the forests, and so whenever people see possums, they generally kill them. And
sorry, one question. How you call these small cages for possum around the rivers?
The small what cages?
Some you try to catch the possum there. How called the small?
The small cages that are traps. They're the mesh, the box ones. They're more for rats and stoats.
Okay.
Yeah, because the rats and the stoats, they eat the kiwi eggs and other native bird eggs. So this is a big problem in New Zealand. Yeah, the possums don't eat the kiwi eggs, so that they just eat all the new growth on the trees and destroy the native forests.
Yeah, because it was funny story when I was there with Franta Hanak in New Zealand. I said I think it was on Wanganui or Wakapapa, and I said, Franta, be careful. There are around the rivers so many cages for opossum to catch them, and he was a little bit nervous, and he asked me, "Is it dangerous for me? Can I fall in this cage?" So and Franta so huge.
There was big bamboo stakes in a swing.
So he's so huge, and opossum is like this. Anyway, so you said that you.
So I went for a drive to look for a possum, because in New Zealand you drive just a little bit down the road and you'll see a possum in the middle of the roadkill. Okay. And like 30 kilometers later, I still can't find this possum. Nothing anywhere, and it's like, what? But every day, every morning, there's some. It's on every road. So I keep driving. I find this one that's completely flattened into the road. It's been run over so many times, but the tail is sticking up. And and I'll show you, because I have one here now.
Oh, nice
so
tail.
The tail's sticking up, and this possum's completely flattened into the road, and it's covered in maggots and it's rotten. And I just went along and just picked out like this much. And then I was like, oh, that stinks. And I came home and I dubbed on this fly, and this was one of the best flies I've ever tied in my life. This fly caught so many fish, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've revolutionized something new!" And
Stinking awesome.
so I called this fly RK1, and this was
RK1.
RK1 because it's roadkill. Roadkill one. But originally it was just called the RK, and then I found, believe it or not, kangaroos, like wallabies. Wallabies are from Australia, but we have some population here in New Zealand.
Ooh, I didn't know it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and in some areas they're a really big pest, like the possums. They destroy the undergrowth of the forest. So around Rotorua, every now and then you'll see a dead wallaby. So it was my second one. I get some fluff off the squashed wallaby.
RK2.
RK2. This was like, I was like, oh, what should I call this fly? It's got to be RK because it was roadkill. So that's RK1, this is RK2. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and the inspiration for fly tying you found on YouTube or from Rob was or from other friends?
Oh, little bits from different people throughout the world. But once again, I'm going to give some credit to you. I think the gift that you gave the world of fly fishing with the Ricurca fly, the Tina Turner.
Yeah.
I think I first used this in the Czech Republic for chubs and casting right close to the shore, like this far from the shore, and these lips came up and eat this ball of fluff, and I'm like, anyway, you come to New Zealand. The Motu River is really hard to get the fish to come up and rise consistent. You pull out the Ricurca, and I'm saying, maybe it might work. I don't know.
Yeah.
And within 5 minutes, the Ricurca is my favorite fly.
Yeah, I remember that time. Yeah, it was this 63. It was crazy because I was kneeling there as an Indian. You said you can go when the head of brownie look on other side. So I kneeling closer and closer, and then I cast, and the fish was it looks like not the behavior like brownie, but like chap, because he was so slowly and goes down in the pool about 10 centimeters to Rokerka, and then make a turn and the right direction to this Rokerka, and this slowly rise, and then it was great. Yeah, but it's totally different behavior. I know that in Motu it's normal, but I am used to see brownies who are really fast. Yeah, when they see, yeah, because they are small here, not so huge. Yeah, yeah, it was great. So another question: fishing for pleasure. It's funny. Ask Kiwi. So I mean your backcountry trips, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's two sides of my fishing, as there probably is for most competitive fishermen. I mean, you mentioned that some of the people in the Czech, the older guys, that's all they have. But I think throughout the world, people have their pleasure fishing and their competitive fishing, and you need to learn how to switch that on and off.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you try and remain, for me anyway, if you try and remain in that competitive zone of being the champion, trying to win all the time, it can be bad for your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You need to release every now and then. So yeah, when I start to think, when I plan, sometimes my backcountry trip, I might be sitting watching the TV with my wife and then say, "Can I please go away for 4 days?" And she's like, "What? Where did this come from?" And I'm like, "I just thought of it just now." And she's like, "No, you didn't. You've been planning this for days." And I'm like, "Nah, I just thought right now." And she's like, "Okay." And so instantly pack my pack, get everything, and it's just a hurry. It's just a rush. But then there's other trips that I think, okay, next week I'm going to go into the mountains for 4 days. And just the whole build up, the visions that I have in my head of walking up the mountains, coming out through the bush to see the river, looking at fish cruising on the water, that just, it creates this crazy anxiety all week. And then when it finally starts to happen, you're just almost nervous, and it's this nervous energy. Yeah, it's amazing. There's certain parts of my area that I can go up into the mountains, and it's been like on another planet. You don't see anybody. You don't see anybody for the drive there. You don't see anybody walking, and you're the only person in the mountains for so long. And just to sit back, you're camping out, light a fire, cook on the fire. It's just something really special about it. So
yeah, it's great that in New Zealand you don't have such a animals like bears, so some poisoned snakes, some insect dangerous. So it's great that you can go anywhere and you don't have such a dangerous around. Yeah, and I know you sometimes explain me about these trips. Can you tell us how many fish you catch during this trip? I know it, but our listeners didn't know it. That sometimes it's not about numbers.
Yeah, it depends where I go, but generally the higher you get up into the headwaters of any river, the less the population is, but the bigger and wiser the fish are. So not only are they big and they're hard to handle when you catch them, they're also hard to actually get them to take because they're wise. Some would be 10 years old. They learned a few tricks in 10 years. Yeah. So I would say it depends where you go, but sometimes I would get 10 fish a day. But some of my most memorable fish, I've probably walked 14 kilometers of mountains and heavy bush, which is really physically demanding. It's not just a gentle walk. Up and down and pushing through the bush and deep river wades, and I see one fish all day. And then the pressure's on because you've seen one fish. You've 10, 12 hours after leaving camp in the morning, you see your first fish, and you don't want to fuck it up. And these fish is some of the best fish of my life. So 13-pound rainbow, probably 84, 85 centimeters. So you look at the build up to that, the hard slog, the dedication, and being rewarded. Now, if you hook that fish and this happens, he completely owns you, and he just off downstream, wrap you around a big log, gone. This eats at you for years. Like, it hurts in here. The vision in here is there all the time. And every year I'm like, right, I'm going to go back and I'll try and catch that fish. 30 hours of hiking, 12 hours from the camp again. Is he there? He's not there. Next year, come back. Is he there? There he is. Finally, you land him. And it's been this challenge over maybe 3 years, 4 years to get this one fish. When it happens, it's, you can, those are little pieces in your hard drives stuck in your head. Just one hard drive here, one hard drive here. And those are the special moments in fly fishing.
Oh, yeah. Now I am so fat, so it's not possible to go with you. But I promise, I go in a shape, some leaning face. So one time,
promised that last time.
Yeah, but it's 2.5 years ago. Yeah,
and you remember last time when I said, "Hey, wake up! It's raining heavy. Hurry up!" And you said, "This is not rain. This is a tropical storm."
Yeah, and then I stuck under the roots. Yeah, it was great. So, and another question, you just maybe it will be from this trip, unforgettable fish. the fish. If I say unforgettable fish, which is in your head, which you remember whole life, which will be this?
I would probably say that one I just described.
Yeah. I thought it. Yeah.
Because you start to see things when you've been looking at the water that long, and you've walked that far, and 10 hours later you're still your eyes do not blink. You're like this, and you start to see things. You're like, oh, there's one, and then and you blink and you rub your eyes, and you're like, I'm seeing things. And I was up in the bush, and it was like on this cliff, and it came to an edge of another canyon where it wasn't like a rock wall like this. It was underneath like this.
Yeah.
So you were stuck here, and I looked down, and there's this massive fish, and I had my Euro nymphing rod, I think 10 foot forward, and I looked at this fish, and I was like, nope, this ain't gonna do it. So I sat down, took it apart, put my 9 foot 6 weight together. Then I went looking for a way down to the edge, and because the whole pool is like 30 feet deep and bush, and the banks are underneath, you can't get down. And I tried to go inland into this canyon and find a way down, and it got worse. It was just the water had cut under the rock.
Okay.
And so then I'm thinking, there's no way down. I can't do it. The fish is safe. And as I'm watching him cruise, I held onto a tree, and I looked down, and the tree had grown steps from the roots, like a big bonsai tree, like these roots. And so I waited till he turned. He swam down. He's feeding off the surface. I take 2 steps down the root. He turned around. I'm stuck for 4 minutes. And then he cruises again. I take 2 more steps down. And then he look at me again, and I'm stuck. And then another 2 minutes, and he goes again. I'm like, down. And I only had one rock ledge, probably 1.5 meter wide. I had no way to cast because of the bush. So I just had a little sideways roll cast upstream. And when he came, I just flicked down, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this fish, I was 32 hours walk from my car. I landed this fish. I screaming in the mountains on my own. I actually have all this footage on video. It's crazy. When I look back on it, it's just like, wow, you're just like yelling to yourself, and you're celebrating with yourself. And I landed the fish, took a few deep breaths, sat down, had food, and then I walked home.
Yeah. Finished business. Business
all
was finished.
All night long, headlamp in the bush, just kept walking. I'm like, I'm finished. I'm retired. And then I think 1 week later, then I want to go again. So
yeah, it's addiction, I think. Yeah. And do you have this footage somewhere in YouTube or somewhere on Vimeo?
No, because I don't want anyone to see this place.
Yeah. Do you think that it's recognizable?
Everybody will know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they know where I live.
Okay. So another question. I call it in English top 7, and I ask all the time our guys also, and the foreigners also. If I ask you about your favorite dry fly, which will be?
Rockirker.
Good answer. Okay. another question about wet fly. Your favorite wet fly?
March brown.
March brown.
Yeah, March brown wet.
No flash, just pure nature. March brown.
Pure natural. Yep.
No some bead.
No bead.
Okay. So about nymph, your favorite nymph?
My tricolor caddis.
Yeah, I know. Other people doesn't know.
So it's 3 colors of dubbing on a caddis. But,
yeah, it's your secret. And about streamer, your favorite streamer.
Probably a orange beaded brown woolly bugger.
Orange bead woolly bugger. And which color of woolly bugger? Black one?
Brown.
Brown, sorry.
Brown marabou, hens, root beer color
Okay.
dubbing with a brown hackle palmed throughout the entire.
Okay, so it was about flies, and now your favorite waters. River, which one?
Ruakaturi.
Yeah.
Here in Gisborne region.
Same here. And water, favorite water, but lake.
Lake Otamangakau.
Otamangakau. I was there, but
yeah.
I have there a little bit unfinished business. Because one fish just take it like dolphin. It was really quick.
Yeah.
So, and your favorite competition, which one?
In New Zealand?
Whatever. Yeah. Which one you want?
Yeah, okay, probably the Whanganui river competitions that we have here in New Zealand.
Okay.
World Championship was held on the Whanganui. It's just a really big population of big fish.
Because many people set some local competition, our local or on the Lutlava, but I like answer who said Martin Drosh. He said everybody said about Koba Memorial and Svatecký Lipan and this and that, and he said I like the most World Championship. So I like this answer also. So another question. I call it fuck up because many people look at you as a hero, the best competitor in New Zealand, but we know that everybody sometimes did some fuck up. So, can you remember some in competition? I mean, some kind of this problems, fuck up that you something did wrong, or I don't know.
Well, yeah. My first World Championship in the Czech Republic, I was actually
I know it. Yeah, tell it.
I was doing pretty well. Like I think I had something like a 7th, an 11th, maybe a 1st and a 5th, and then I had a blank on the lake. Well, I can't remember the name of this lake.
Květoňov.
Yeah. So, no, wasn't Květoňov the one from the shore?
Yeah, it was from the boat. So it was Lipno. It was vyrovnávací nádrž. Yeah. It was from the boat.
The one from the boat. I blanked. I'd never fished for stock rainbow ever before. None of the New Zealand team really had, so we had no real data to go on. In our practice, we had to row all the way to the far end of the lake where there was, as we learnt, we're not used to stockfish. There's no stockfish in New Zealand, so we didn't know that, you're rowing to the other end of the lake where they didn't put fish in, and we practiced for 3 hours for nothing. I think one guy got one while I was rowing. So, and I just made bad decisions, bad choices, didn't have experience, and I put this score sheet of my blank on my wall, just over here, actually, beside my last ever World Championship session in Tasmania, which I won. So I've got the blank from the Czech Republic, and I've got the win, my last session. So one is motivation, and another is just a good memory.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so another question, or not question, because you are kind of coach of, or not coach, but yes, coach for Billy, for other people. And do you have some advice for rookies for new buys?
Yeah, just when anyone like a mentor or an influence in your life is using their time to share it with you, appreciate that time, be thankful, and also listen. Don't challenge. Like sometimes you might say, oh, you should try this, and they challenge why. They want to argue with you why, so you straight away, oh, well, I'm not helping you anymore. Waste of my time. So the guys that listen are the guys that you continue to help because you know they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And many people stop their progression because anybody, I can see it with other people too, they try and help them and they, oh, I think this is better. So be open, have your eyes open, have your ears open, and appreciate it because these people are sharing their knowledge with you.
Yeah, it's good advice. Another kind of this advice or tips. Do you have some gadget, something that you use and you think that it's helpful? Because, for example, I said that it's good to have magnet on your net and not in the middle and straight, but asymmetrically, because you have handle right in your head when you try to landed fish. So, do you have some kind of this some stuff on your vest? But I think you don't like so many things on the vest. Do you have some tips?
Just one little thing that a lot of people say, what's that on my rod? And it's, I don't even have any here, but I just slide a little foam ring on my rod.
Okay.
And onto the blank of the rod. So I can stick when I'm nymphing or even wet lining, I can have these. And you stick your hook into the foam. So if you're running down the river and then you get to where you need to be, if you're in a hurry,
okay,
you don't have this dropper tied in a knot. And so what I use is they are grips off the pencil. They're foam grips and they have little curves. And I chop them and stick them on.
Okay.
And this can save a lot of time. Yeah. And just the other tip for people that are starting out is having a measurement on your rod. So all my rods have either a stick-on tape measure or a mark where this is a legal fish. Yeah, so you are not wading across the river, getting there. Sorry, it is 19.
Yeah, good tips. The first tip, which you said, the foam ring. I needed a few years ago when controller took my rods around the river through the bush. And you know what happened?
So
when I said, please, could you pass me the rod with, I don't know, wet flies? And he said, okay, no problem. But you don't have any flies there. Because he broke it during the walk.
Well, my first controller at my first World Championships, and I was on Devil Stones in session one.
Okay.
I had two rods exactly the same. One was 0.12 tippet. The other was 0.10. I break the 0.12. It pulls out, the leader pulls out of the fly line because it was like a tree canopy. I struck and it went in the tree and I just went and it ripped out. I said, where's my other rod? Because it was on my bag. And I said, where's my other rod? He says, oh, I packed it away for you. He took it all apart. And put it in the rod.
Yeah, sometimes controllers are crazy. Yeah. Sometimes it's funny. Yeah, I had it in Norway. Big argument with control. It was she, and she said, I started to prepare my rod. She came and I have prepared 5 rods. Yeah, dry, wet, this and that. And she said to me, no, only 2 rods. And I said, no, you can have as many as you want. And she said, no, just 2 rods, nothing more. But it's good that I can a little bit speak English. So we called the sector judge, and sector judge said, okay, he can have as many as he wants. Yeah, but from the start, I was so nervous. It was first European Championship for me, so I was sweating. And she said, "No, just 2 rods." But finally, it was okay. Yeah. Okay, Cory. All questions were I asked already, so it's almost finished. So
Awesome.
it was great to have you here. I will be more happy that if we can do it face to face in Gisborne, or if you will come to my home. But hopefully,
Maybe by then I'll have a podcast. You can
maybe
be my guest.
maybe it will be uh, after this situation. But I am a little bit scared that it will take some time more. Okay, Cory. Thank you once more. It was great to see you, to speak with you about fly fishing. Please say hello to all friends, to Wanau, to Sarah, Max, Rico, and Cruz, or mother,
Mhm.
and have a great season. Hope that you will be qualified for Spain, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I will come just taking photo, and if you will be there, maybe I will change plan and I will come. Okay, I will turn it off, and please stay because we have to
Yeah.
save it.
Okay. Well, it's
Okay,
been a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
I thank you.